going, so maybe if they get some good civs, or they play on the best map in the game.
Are they playing Forest Nothing or what?
They're playing Compass, man.
I know.
I'm at 3 seconds whenever you are ready.
I'm ready. Just say the word. Or say my name.
I was about to go there, but you took the fall on that one. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. It all comes down to Compass. Just to introduce this map quickly, real quick, yeah, because this is a very weird one. You all start in tiny little islands in the middle of the map, and then you have 4 more or less equal areas in each corner of the map. Each one has a different seasonal theme, and there aren't even any shallows, so they are complete islands. You need to fight on water, you need to fight on land, and there are just so many different ways this map can play out. I think we're bound for at least something interesting here.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty nice, and I feel like this is one of those maps where it could be a tiny bit easier for SC, because there might be not as much of a super aggressive gameplay at the beginning, and it's much easier to isolate yourself from the rest of the enemies. Like game number 1, they more or less had at least one player that was surrounded by opponents. Game number 2, they had an opening and knights came in, so they were under constant pressure. In this one, you select where you go, so you can actually coordinate your team to kind of stack up on one island and help each other, or like split in between 2. But in general, I feel like there is more booming potential on this map, and chances are that the early aggression is less important on land, which could benefit SC.
Yeah, unless you're doing something really wild, which is like sending your starting villagers like across the middle area, and then like build a TC on your opponent's island. Like then that can be pretty crazy. But I think everybody is going to be safe and happy with their own islands. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a full boom fest.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that both teams have the same approach. Instead of, let's say, stacking up 3 players or even 4 players on one side, just to make sure they're super safe, instead, they split 2 in between 2 peninsulas, because they're technically not islands, more like peninsulas.
Yeah, kind of. Mainland, I don't know.
So, yep. As we take a look at the map, I have a feeling that in terms of resource distribution in between the different parts and different seasons, there isn't really major differences.
There isn't, no.
Huntables, Goldstone, so basically it doesn't really matter which side you go for as long as you are with your teammates and frienderinos.
Yeah, no, there shouldn't be any big difference in terms of resource distribution. It's just aesthetically different with the whole 4 seasons and the compass directions and whatnot. It looks cool and definitely gives the map a lot of flavor, but it is still fairly balanced overall. I've seen it where you have like 2 players on a safe island and then you send one to like contest an island with an enemy on each other side, but this is going to be the full safe quote-unquote approach. But it does mean that water aggression is going to be even more important.
Yeah, and from that aspect, you have 4 Team Vietnam Koreans for Say My Name. Tatars for ACCM doesn't really matter on water. Saracens could be fun in the long run for the galleys, for Bad Boy. And Incas for Rolls-Royce. I would have loved seeing Rolls-Royce actually going for like a aggressive approach and potentially trying to start on the opponent's island and then go for like a pretty aggressive Inca opening and try to delay 2 players at the same time to give an advantage to his teammates. On the other side, it feels like Gu could actually go FC with Vikings.
Yeah, totally. And go for longboats. We've seen that before.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat. And then you have Gots, which is like, sure, type of a thing for Kilt.
It's like a, sure thing.
It could be fun from one aspect. This is one of those maps, especially with the distribution of the TCs looking like this, where you have a high chance of sneaking a villager to the back of the opponent's base. Like, the surface area of these islands are so big, and there is like so much unseen area at the back, that I can imagine Kill doing something like, oh yeah, let's FC, try to smuggle villagers through the opponent's or like through the river to the opponent's island, drop 2 barracks, send in 10 Huskars, and potentially win the game that way. Because, as you said, this is going to be a very war-heavy approach, so chances are that the opponents aren't really going to have any defense against that on land, maybe not even go for Loom.
Well, it's interesting. We did see SC play this map in their qualifier game against White Eagle, and someone rolled Goths in that one. I think it was someone on White Eagle, and they tried to like sneak a bunch of barracks in Imperial Age and just go for a ton of spam. It kind of sort of worked out. It's really hard to make landings happen if you don't have any control of water, which I think especially in this situation, it's going to be more important. But even then, that game was a whole different story because you had enemies on the same little island area, whereas this, it's much, much safer. So I think it's going to favor the water civs, and 2, the more late-game oriented civs, which I actually think is fairly even between the 2 teams in terms of strength.
Yeah, that's true. I still feel like, considering that you start with your own transport ship anyways, you might actually go for the immediate sneak on your Voyager. I wouldn't have been sad if I saw, let's say, kill. Minute number 2, you smuggle a Voyager through.
And you could. You definitely could, but that villager is just being idle for a really long time.
Yeah, it's a big gamble, but on their side, you idle Voyager for, let's say, 10 minutes game time. You can make houses with it if you want, so you kind of minimalize the idle time that you would have. And after that, it can actually be a game-winning move that you actually have a sneaky base behind the opponent. I feel like it's somewhat similar to what we have seen on Grand Barra.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Like with Licks.
Battle of Africa. Yeah.
The YOLO
Basically,
play.
Where you start on the outside. And it's the same thing. You try to smuggle Voyager very early. You know that it is going to be idle for quite time, but the potential benefit is so great from being able to harass the opponent from the back where they are unable to defend that you might actually take that risk and go for that Voyager sneak. As expected, Kill hasn't clicked up just yet, meaning that he seems to go for what appears to be an FC, and a similar thing for Goo.
Thor... Oh, okay, Thor was sending villagers to stone for a second. I was getting really confused with Slavs, but no, it looks like he will just be going over to the gold. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And it seems like some galley play, looks like from Bad Boy, our Saracen player. Makes sense, you want to go for lots of galleys early on, use that faster fire rate, but also just going to be some fire ships for other players.
I actually like the galley play here quite a bit because you have a good meat shield in terms of like players. Most of your teammates will actually be doing fire galleys. So you have the time to mass your galleys, and especially with Saracens, I wouldn't be surprised to see a super early market selling the stone and trying to get a pretty decent castle age time. You would have like 7, 8, 9 war galleys pretty soon, which could be a pretty nice counter to the FC from the Viking player.
I think the other approach is that you just go heavily commit to Feudal Age, because Galley plus Fire Galley is just better than Fire Galley plus Fire Galley, because it's, you know, a more diverse army composition and all that. And I feel like if you can snowball and kill all of your opponent's Fire Galleys, then it's going to be, I think, a little too tricky for the longboats to be doing enough. But we'll have to see what approach they're going to go for right here. And is he, Gray even going for FC? Yes, he is.
Yeah, and meanwhile, speaking of sneaky villagers, it is Rolls-Royce who is sneaking 2 villagers to the right side with Incas. Actually was going for FC, I assume, judging by the resources that he's having in the bank. Hello, why is he not clicking up?
There's literally nothing stopping him from clicking up.
Yeah, it's just
there we go.
Time on the PC for like 20-30 seconds. And I think it's going to be a crossbow play because he's building a barracks back at home, meaning that he's actually trying to play for crossbows and not eagles in this one. I really like this strategy from him. Like with Incas, you aren't really a big factor on the water, but you can do a lot of damage landing. And I feel like this is the part of the game that wasn't really utilized by SC in this specific map.
No, it was not. And here comes the archery range. but Town Watch was researched by Thor. The power of Town Watch! And Rolls-Royce, no idea. I think he did research Town Watch, but oh man, little unfortunate for him. The SC guys are totally going to see this coming.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Especially with Thor losing all of his fishing ships already. I massively disapprove SC's strategy choice here because I feel like they're just trying to play conventional, but playing conventional against a team that just has way more skilled players is just weird, and I'm not sure if it would work nicely. I still believe that the Gothic sneak should have been attempted, or basically any kind of sneak. But you need like high risk, high reward type of fun approaches if you are this massively outskilled.
Unfortunately, we see that a lot with players in tournaments, that even if they know they're, very unlikely to win doing something standard, they would just rather do that than make the game completely messy. Which, I mean, I guess I understand, but it's still kind of tricky. Looks like Defensive Watchtower is now incoming here for blue, but this is still already doing a lot of work and is, meanwhile, giving our Cyan player, say my name, tons of space to get up to Castle Age totally fine.
Yeah, but here come the longboats, and that's not something that Vietnam has an answer to right now. But as I said, it is a bad boy who sold his stone, clicked up to Castle Age, he's remining it right now. But I really love this Saracen approach. I feel like Saracens are probably one of the most underrated war civs. Not necessarily because of the galley bonus, it's more like about the market bonus.
It can be very good. I think they're definitely a pretty good water civ. I don't really think they're top 5 or anything like that, but definitely hovering at top 10 or so.
Well, you would have Italians, you would have Vikings,
Japanese, Portuguese. I'd put Koreans up there too.
Would you actually put Japanese in front of Saracens, though?
Yes.
I'm not that convinced on that, to be honest.
Japanese have such a strong start, such a strong eco that I'd probably put them only behind Italians, and even then by a little bit.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, because I wouldn't actually rank Japanese in front of Saracens, just for the sake of the Saracens being able to have a very, very clean Castle Age transition that can actually win battles so easily.
I guess it's just different ways of looking at the game, just because I think that I probably have a much more old-school mindset when it comes to water, where it's just like, okay, is the Civ good in Dark Age and Early Feudal Age? Then you're good to go for me. But also,
anyways,
yeah, those longboats are getting, they're taking the long way to Valhalla.
Yeah, basically. And this is why I said that the sneak can be so good. Look at what we are seeing from Rolls-Royce. He isn't even doing anything, just making a few crossbows. But meanwhile, he forced yellow to make a stable, he forced blue to make a siege workshop. He's delaying 2 players just by having 2 villagers on the other side. That's exactly what they need.
Can I just give
what SC needed, I believe.
Can I just give some credit to Say My Name real quick for a beautiful split on his fire galleys? Just like making a complete arc around the longboats, meaning they had no chance to escape whatsoever. Like, that was a really, really pretty little maneuver right there. Also, this is super over, by the way.
Yeah, this feels so over. At this point, the ecos are pretty balanced, actually, but as you said, basically, Kill and Thor will be busy trying not to die to the landing of Rolls-Royce, and meanwhile, Bad Boy could just boom all day, all night. Same thing, basically, for ACCM. Isn't ACCM doing anything else than booming? Because he just has like a few fire galleys and that is it.
He's adding a TC. I think he's just... ACCM's just been playing very standard. He went for, a decent amount of water aggression, but not like a ton of committal, and then is just now, I think, getting an eco up behind it. Actually, no, he's landing with the Siege Workshop. He already has a stable. He's making some Sept Lancers.
I like that quite a bit. Like, I don't think that he actually expected his opponent to have the entire coastline fully walled, as we do have
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Normandy 1944 colorized over here.
Feels bad, man.
I really approve that Alive was actually doing stone walls behind instead of trying to repair the wall, because step lancers can stab through the polished walls, so it's not easy to actually wall behind or repair. And chances are ACM is just going to run in and start slaying villagers. Kill is still busy trying to clean this landing up.
He's gonna be busy cleaning it up for a very long time. To be fair, he is a higher scorer than Rolls-Royce, but you're spending so much time doing that that you're not really ever able to contribute a whole lot on water, and just the fishing ship difference is absolutely massive at this point.
Yeah,
And-
Vietnam is dominating this so far.
And I have to say, like you, I'm really impressed by Bad Boy. I think that he is contributing pretty much just as much as Say My Name and ACCM, and that bodes very well for Vietnam, Oh My Goss, as they would go up against Pet Gun Pet in the winners match.
It's going to be pretty good indeed, because Pet Gumpet is a tougher team than SC, and it actually is very good for them if you just take an overall look at how the tournament looks like. So there is going to be a tough team: Nikov, Miguel, Lan, Fëanor, and Sito in the hand cannons OP team. Then you have Arwar, which is still a very strong team. You have Leary, Hart, Stuckdown, Hera together. So there is like a bunch of very strong teams. And the fact that you have a pretty balanced team overall is very good. And I really like how they are using Rolls-Royce in that game. They probably realize as well that Rolls-Royce is a bit under the skill of the other players. But I think Rolls-Royce is one of the players who contributed the most. You take your potentially weakest player and cause chaos to two other players on the opponent, and that's exactly what you need to make it a 3v2 for the other players on your team.
Yep, that's definitely... You're getting the most out of all your players, which is really important. You know, make best with what you have. Also, now we have Viking Knights that are going to be entering the picture from G. Oh boy. You know things are looking grim.
Yeah, you know things are looking grim when a Viking player has to make 3 stables on his own island and try to pop out some knights.
Yeah, big yikes on that one.
And finally, Thor was able to clean up the forward from Rolls-Royce, but this delayed it so much. And I really love how Vietnam is spreading out the war galleys alongside the shore for Thor and kill. They just want to make sure they don't land on their side, and that's exactly what I was thinking, because I feel like the only way that SC could somehow turn this around is if they're somehow able to land on Rolls-Royce's island and get some Huskars out, because that would suddenly even out the villager count and overall the game.
Or just sneaking up any docks at all. I mean, the landing is definitely a scary potential play. Also, just like, you sneak a few docks, you garrison it with, like, 8 or 9 war galleys in each, and then you jump out and say, "Surprise, Navy!" That could also be a potential play, but it's a little too far gone for that at this point.
Yeah, at this point, this is just a slow and painful death. And it's always interesting to see these type of games from the aspect of, I think that SC is still hoping. And everybody has such games when, hey, I'm a bit behind, but I can still turn this one around, and that's what you're feeling. But at some point, you're going to realize, oh no, I'm not turning this around.
Oh, that's like all my games. I always have hope, man. I just hope that I just, can just keep hanging on, just keep adding more TCs, more villagers, and then eventually, like, I don't know, my opponent will get bored and slip up. I've won too many games like that.
Yeah, what would be good, I believe, for SC is to drop a castle on the shoreline, because right now it's only war galleys, they can't stop the castle, and that would allow you to redock and give you like a small hope, exactly how you would actually do it on islands. Basically on islands, if you lose your docks, your only hope kind of is to just drop a castle that will protect your docks until you can actually mass a fleet, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, in any sort of water map scenario, what you need to do if you are behind on water, because if your opponent is smart, they will just do what the Vietnamese guys are doing and surround your whole island. But then, yeah, not too lucky. Now you're stonewalling in your own island, and this just doesn't feel like a winning strategery.
Yeah, on the positive side of things, you have a bunch of resources, but indeed, it's definitely not super great when you kind of have to stonewall your entire island. But there it is, from Goo. As we have Say My Name landing with a single villager, trying to sneak up on the opponents, but Goo is going to spot that one. And I feel like that castle is too close to the shore, though. That's way too close.
Yeah, but can you really even put the castle in range of defending your docks? Because, like, the thing is, you put the castle up, and if it's too far inland, then the war galleys can poke away at the docks, no problem, and I feel like it's really hard to actually place a castle in that scenario, other than just hoping you can get it up sneakily. But Say My Name doing a great job of denying it as best they can with this little quick gate here. And yeah, this is happening as about as quickly as I'm hitting 1700.
Yeah, basically. Honestly, the later you do your castle, the more difficult it is going to be. So, I'm already thinking that this is way too late, because now we have Galleons out. Galleons will have 10 range with Bracer, so it's much harder to drop a good castle than in comparison to, let's say, dropping it at the beginning of Castle Age when you know you already lost water, but hey, my opponent still has more or less just fire galleys and not war galleys or galleons.
Yeah, he got conscription on the way for kill. I'm not too sure what he wants to be doing with it. They are getting trade established.
Ooh, that's a lot of docks up for kill. But what is he making? He's not making any ships right now, as we do have a castle, by the way, from Rolls-Royce on the southern part of the map. Defensive castle from Thor for some trap wars. And one of the things that might be worth pointing out is that killing your opponent on this map is relatively hard, because there's like so much space to fall back to.
Oh, it's really hard. You have to land, and then you have to actually like push your opponent all the way back into their island. I mean, games can last a long time. I mean, the first game I cast on this map was like a little under 2 hours long game time. This will not be that long because it's just so one-sided and over. But you guys can definitely see the potential watching, I'm sure.
Yeah, anyways, it would be very fun to see this map with some more even teams, I would say, as Thor is not actually making a trap on that castle on the south, and he's making conscription. That's not what he's supposed to do when he's seeing the opponent's castle. He should go for the trap ASAP.
Yeah,
Like,
unless you're thinking that I need to go insanely greedy if I have any hope, but either way, you're dying.
Yeah, like, that should have been a trap, so that he can actually start trapping down the castle. And we will have Elite Kamayuk coming in here for Rolls-Royce alongside a bunch of petards.
Well, I'm sure you're not going to complain about seeing that.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about Kamayuks at all.
Oh yeah. There is a trap out, and, I mean, to be fair, it's almost equally greedy for Rolls-Royce what he's doing, getting Elite Cameo, Conscription, and even Fabric Shields. Okay, he cancelled Fabric Shields, he realizes he does need some Trebuchets. But pretty solid upgrades. There is Onager in here for Thor, but, I mean, it's still very grim.
Yeah, it's very, very grim. Like, Kill is trying to redock here, but as I said, once Galleons are out, it's just not going to work. Plus, those are Saracen Galleons as well. And last time I checked, Saracen Galleons are way better than Gothic Galleons.
Yeah. By a lot.
Yeah, but look at Goo. This is actually interesting. He's gonna have a bunch of towers, and I'm pretty sure that those actually have heated shot already. And that's a lot
Vikings
of
have it.
boats.
Yeah. elite longboats fully upgraded. And this is what I was talking about. Like, the surprise navy is one of the ways you could potentially ever come back in a game.
Yeah, being honest, this might not be completely over. It feels like there is a massive advantage for Vietnam, but killing your opponent is so hard here, and suddenly you have a bunch of longboats. And I feel like the foothold for Rolls-Royce could actually fall because he doesn't have his own trebs right now.
No, he doesn't. The contingency walls from Thor are actually beautiful. Really making sure that there is no way those Kamyuks can squeeze their way in. And now the trebuchets are going to be have to target other trebuchets, and that's not looking so great. I'm kind of wondering what ACCM is doing.
He's making Hussar and transporting them through. I guess he wants to raid like Goose Eco. As we do have a trade coming up here for SC on the left side island. I still feel like the biggest contribution missing is Kill. Like, he either needs to start slinging goo into more ships, or start making his own ships, but he needs to contribute more because he's the one that doesn't really have any major army.
Also, as we do have a bit of a longboat versus galleon fight incoming, where the longboats actually heavily outnumbered the galleons, even though it doesn't really seem like it. No, actually it's around even, but all the ships need to be fighting. But can we just take a moment to appreciate that? When is the last time you have seen trade cogs in a tournament in Age of Empires?
Honestly, this is one of those maps where trade cogs, if you have full water control, is actually more legitimate than trade cards.
Oh yeah, definitely. We saw it in Tete Cup, really?
Yeah, Tete Cup actually had some similar maps. As we have a landing here from Bad Boy, it doesn't really matter that he's going to lose the majority of this fleet because he's actually able to establish a foothold. We have Kill coming in here with his own trebs, though.
Oh, now ACCM is landing on the right side. Everybody is just piling on this right side here. It's a little bit rough. Looks like maybe some Eagle Warriors. Yeah, some Elite Chicken Suit Men are on the way. They're going to have almost full upgrades. And now we have a bunch of Elite Cannon Galleons. Or, sorry, just regular Cannon Galleons. Koreans should get Elite Cannon Galleons. And they're going to be taking down these castles.
Well, yeah, that's more cannon galleons than what you need to do that. Although, I'm not so sure. I mean, those galleons are dying relatively fast. Some of the castles will fall, but there's a chance that Bad Boy is going to lose his castle.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but also, can you take...
There's just no army here for SC to defend against those light cav raids, and the eco for Vietnam is untouched.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, can we take a moment to appreciate what Say My Name's doing in the center of the map? Like, Korean keeps are just so amazing for just securing water control. Like, what's gonna happen is, you know, even if Gu can push out here with the help of Kill, like, you're running into all of these docks that are just surrounding, you know, 13 range keeps with heated shot and arrow slits and all that.
Lake Poyang intensifies.
Oh no. No. Those towers, man, they have like 20 range. Speaking of which, I need to play that again because I had to revert my patch and I lost all my campaign progress.
Feels bad, man. I'm still waiting for the Lake Poyang no units lost.
Oh, we're working our way up there. We started with Genghis Khan, which is, you know, going to be the easier one. You know, then we were working our way up with you know, Montezuma, which I released today. Montezuma with only monks and rams and trebs. But Lake Poyang it's going to be like doing you know, Tariq with no units lost.
Anyways, we do have a hole on the south, and that means that Eagles are running in there. Thor is dropping in terms of villager count. Their eco is just getting contested so much by like raiding units, so they're forced to make units on their own island and rebuild their eco, whereas for Vietnam, they just have an untouched eco behind this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that I am impressed by how valiantly the SC guys are actually trying here, and they're actually putting up a good fight. They're making all of the right moves. I do think it's too far gone at this point to really have any hope, but I think it actually says a lot for them, even if they, when they go down to the losers bracket to face ROR. I think if they can get Riot back and, then potentially, have this sort of determination, I think they could possibly beat ROR.
Yeah, definitely. I would actually say that they might actually be even favored against ROR, because they are doing the right things, and they're on the level where they are doing what pros do, just worse. I mean, this isn't trying to be impolite or anything. It's very good strategies. They are doing what they're supposed to do. They're just getting outskilled by their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that they don't really have much of a shot without Riot, but with Riot, I definitely think it could be a very even series. Like, even now, like, they're not giving up. Like, these longboats are really holding their own.
Okay, what if they are playing for their opponent to run out of wood?
No. No.
Technically, you can try.
Oh, you can try. It won't work, but you can try.
Look at all those fancy trade cogs. I actually want to compare, because you can see the bunch of bumping, but a trade cog for Bad Boy brings 113 gold in comparison to kills trade cards that bring in 29.
I mean, it has to be more efficient. And honestly, looking at the pathing, the bumping isn't all that bad.
I mean, there isn't really a huge amount of trade cogs. Oh, look at the middle. The style points for Say My Name.
Oh, it's the Kobukson! Oh, if that doesn't scream, I want late game water population efficiency, I don't know what does. What are you gonna do when the turtles come for you? And honestly, this is a really good chance for turtle ships to shine. I mean, where do you run? You can't, like, just sail around in circles forever against turtle ships. There isn't enough space.
Yeah, indeed. And really, SC is trying to hold on, but they're getting graded more and more, and I really like what ACM is doing. All he's doing is just spamming Hussars into the eco of the opponent. Meanwhile, you have Rolls-Royce, who is likely just slinging someone with 160 Voyagers and no army.
Yeah, almost certainly. Inca's not really like a post-imp powerhouse civ, and we have all of these Hussars from our red player ACCM just running around everywhere. And Bad Boy and Say My Name are both doing an excellent job on water. More and more elite turtle ships coming in. And we're seeing, in one day, we've seen trade cogs, we've seen turtle ships, we've seen Teutonic Knights, we've seen Aztec war galleys winning water. Good stuff.
Yeah, and imagine what else we could see. Be sure to check out the next installment of OBNC.
Oh yeah, definitely. Will be happening Thursday. Same time, same place. Will be shorter, it's only going to be one series, so I think I'm just going to cast that solo, as it's also the Seed 1 versus Seed 8. But I will also be bringing on more and more casters, guys. And maybe we can get LidaKor back, too. Give him more than just one series that is one-sided.
Sure. I'm open anytime, you know.
Oh, yes. Turtle madness, indeed. But, I mean, it's obviously, I don't really see a whole lot.
Yeah, especially with Rolls-Royce unleashing the glorious, the majestic Kamayuks.
What are you gonna do when the Omega Pokes come for you? It works with many units. Alive is running around some elite Gebettos. I'm not too sure if that's going to be quite enough. Yeah, I just love seeing turtle ships, man. I mean, I know I study Korea and everything, but they're just awesome. This is the best SC has looked, though, by far. I do want to give him credit for that.
I suspected something like this because basically it shapes out as I kind of expected. It's a slower map, they have more space to fall back to, and they look decent until they got landed, basically. And this is why Rolls-Royce was so important in this series, and in this game specifically, because he just knocked Tor and Kill out of his rhythm so hard that it allowed the rest of the players to just stack up on the water, win it, and then just have the better trade and snowball that from that point on. So I feel like the stalemate was essentially broken by Rolls-Royce here.
Yeah, definitely. We now have Rolls-Royce landing here on the other side. Say my name with keeps on the opponent's island. Like, Korean's just such a strong civ on this map for a lot of reasons, but just cementing any sort of landing with keeps really good, and that is going to be it. 3-0 for Oh My Goss. Not unexpected, considering it's Seed 2 versus Seed 7, but at least that last game, I think, was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this one was extremely good, and the great thing about this is that you see the potential in this specific map, that it can shape out in a large amount of ways, and I feel like this map is one of those where you have the biggest comeback potential.
Yeah, definitely.
So, because it's so hard to finish off any player, this map has a lot of insane comeback potential. It wasn't there for SC because they slowly got grinded down, but there were some good moments for them, and I feel like they still have a pretty good chance in this tournament. It's just the fact that they actually get matched up with one of the strongest seeds in there.